Hello and welcome to another episode of Rate That Full Art Supporter, and today we're going to be taking a look at Giovanni's scheme. So let's see what this Gen 1 villain is up to, or otherwise known as the leader of Team Rocket. So, shall we? First of all, what does the card actually do for you? Well, it actually gives you an option this time. So you can choose one of the following two options. You can draw onto 5 cards in your hand. Mediocre at best, so maximum draw 5 and often a lot less. But the second option is rather interesting. Doing for the rest of your turn, you can do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, before weakness and resistance. Now, this is typically pretty good, but the problem was, soon after this, another card like Professor Kukui came along, which did the second effect and drew 2 cards, so it's just strictly better, I think. You may have an option, and options are good typically, but this card just didn't see that much play. But before we get into the ranking, let's see what Giovanni's scheme is known as around the world. And is it known as Sakaki in Japanese? I did not know, I must admit. I only know him as Giovanni, of course, based on an English name and also from Danish. It's also just Giovanni. And well, knowing this card around the world, we see a lot of schemes, complot, piano di, and combine de. I apologize for any pronunciation out there already, but that is just how it's called, and I own a couple of these myself for my own collection. For instance, the German one with Giovanni's Intrigue, if pronounced correctly, that is. But now let's look at what you guys ranked it at. Remember, you can rank it from 1 being pretty bad and 5 to be pretty damn good, and in this case here we rank on standard, expanded, uniqueness, and artwork. Of course, standards at a time when that card was in standard, so we see it was not that great, to be honest. It mostly goes on 2s and 3s, so there's nobody really ranked this as an awesome card, simply because strictly better option did exist. And especially when you look at expanded, you see now 1, like a lot of 1. It doesn't get much worse. But what saves it, and actually what saves most full art supporters, it's the uniqueness effect. In this case, unique. Well, most supporters unique. Well, in this case it is. It gives a choice. There's not that many supporters actually does that. We will come back to some later in this series, but for now, not so much. I think this is the first one in the list, and we are now already at number 26. Finally, the artwork. Well, we can get past the artwork is pretty nice, so that's why it saves overall the overall ranking of this card, where most of them rewarded this card with a 4. But let's put it all together, shall we? So we rank it with 25% each. And when you put them all together here, you get the average scores, of course, but when you sum it all up, at the end of the day, you get 2.83. So, already better than Sharon. We still need to see which card is worse out there than Sharon, if any. So let's just take a look at what rank it actually falls in on. We're not up in the top of the list, I must admit. We actually find that 19th spot out of the so far 26 supporters that's been rated. Falls right below Pokemon Center Lady. And you may notice, that's the same score. But then again, we are looking at further decimals if there's an even scores, and otherwise if it's still even, we look at who got the most top grades. That is now the ranking, and this is now how we do tiebreakers. Well, we've done it since the beginning, but it's not been very relevant until, well, now. And earlier with Bridget and AC, which we see in 12th and 13th spot at the moment. So 19th place it is for Giovanni's scheme, just above Professor Birch's observations and just below Center Lady. I played Birch's observation, but I never played Giovanni's scheme. Interesting. But before we round off today's episode, let's look at some bonus facts that you guys sent in. So remember, you can always respond to the survey, which can be found in the link here to the description below here, and you can help me figure out new cool bonus facts. And what we see here, it indeed had a limited exclusive Japanese edition, which the picture's also, well, around there. And there you can see it was printed in a briefcase together with other Rocket cards. And that briefcase, I wish I bought it, because at the time, I think it was 400 euros upon release, something like that. But now, yeah, I don't even want to talk about the price right now. It is rather insane. And fun fact, I didn't even know that. So in Pokemon Stadium, which I also played a lot as a kid, he was spelled as Giovanni. I didn't really notice the spelling, but why 7 and not 8 characters? Well, 7 characters was the max for character names in that game. And yes, likely based on a Yakuza faction. That doesn't surprise me, given the origin of Pokemon in general from Japan. And indeed, I couldn't let that one stand. Went forward, Professor Kukui is not enough, and you need to do extra damage every single turn. And, well, I did know that it was the only gym leader to appear outside his gym in Gen 1, so if you didn't know that, well, now you do. And with that said, that should round off the bonus facts for today, and the only thing we've left to do now is check who is up next. And this here is going to be a first, because this is going to be the first time with Skyla that we are looking at a reprinted full art supporter. So this is the second full art artwork. So yes, it'll be hopefully a lot of similarities, but let's see what people rank Skyla as. It should, based on the whole random sampling we're doing here, or the sampling we're doing, let's say that hopefully it should score around the same in terms of at least standard and, well, expand in uniqueness, definitely uniqueness. But let's see if people like this artwork more, shall we? Well, with that said, that was all I had for this episode of Rate That Full Art Supporter, and until next time.